Now, keep in mind, I should have seen and graded your sketch before you start this step, okay? So make sure this has been submitted to Canvas. You read the feedback I gave you before you get started on the actual project. Now, the paper you're going to use for this is the one that says for stained glass on one side, and I wrote that to make sure none of you use this side for painting, because this is too slick for watercolor. It just wouldn't turn out as good. So make sure you use the not slick side, or just the side that's opposite of the words I wrote. Now, if you do make a mistake and you for some reason get to a point where you need to restart this project, this is just poster board, so you can ask your parents if there's any around the house, or just go get a 50-cent board next time you're at the store. So what you need for this is your sketch, a pencil, and then a ruler. And what we're going to do first is start with drawing borders on this paper. So double check the measurements of your large paper. I did cut a lot at a time, so they may not be perfect, but they should be 14 inches, or sorry, 11 inches short waist by 14 inches. Okay, perfect. So an 11. Yep, by 14. Perfect. So, if you count the squares on your sketch, you have 13 going this way, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means we have an extra inch on this white paper. So what we're going to do with that is create a border. Now, because we have an extra inch, that means on every border we can have a half inch, because that would be half inch equals an inch. So, go through, line up your ruler across the top. You're just making a mark at a half inch in. So make sure you're using your ruler's measurements and a half inch in. Okay, I'm doing that on the top and the bottom. Half inch, half inch. Now, as always, make sure you don't press too hard with this, because these are lines that we will want to get rid of later. When you have your two marks, go ahead and line up your ruler and connect them. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Line up your ruler and connect them. Okay, and then do the same for the top and bottom. So lining up my ruler on the long side this time, make a mark at a half inch. Make a mark at a half inch. Then same at the bottom, half inch, and then we connect them. Okay, our next step here is to put the grid down. Now, keep in mind what we just drew, they're just border lines, so they will not be part of our grid by any means. We're just putting the grid inside that space. So ignore these borders, they're just for looks later on. So what you need to do then is line up your ruler inside your border lines, make a mark at every number or every inch going across. Okay, do that at the top. And depending on how long your ruler is, you may need to do that again towards the middle. If you don't have a 15-inch ruler, then for sure you'll need to do that. Okay, and then you can go ahead and line those up. And again, I'm just staying inside my border lines, and I'm not pressing very hard at all, because this is a grid that we'll be getting rid of later. One important thing is that watercolor does not like to cover pencil at all. It actually almost makes the pencil show up more. So make sure you're staying light. So once you've gotten your lines going vertical this way, you need to turn it and do the same the other way. So again, every number or every inch. Okay, once you've got your grid down, the next thing to do is to lightly use our borders to label it and then start sketching things out. So, line up your paper the same direction as your sketch. So if you chose to make your sketch landscape, turn yours landscape. If it's portrait style, keep it portrait style. So across the top we have the alphabet. So again, this is very, very light. So you might not even be able to see it in the video, because I want these borders to be nice and white in the end. So do it very, very light. So you should end up with A through J on your short side, and then on your long side it's 1 through 13. And another thing to remember is that you have your border of the actual picture, this design. That's these last row of squares that we have. So to help me, I'm going to start there so that I don't forget to do this kind of frame design. Okay, and then all you need to do is continue on going square by square to match your sketch to your actual drawing paper or your watercolor paper. Okay, so you should have gotten your sketch all copied onto the final paper. Now notice how light it still is, just in case you make mistakes, you want it easy to erase.